coming home from COVID, getting a shave, getting a haircut, getting bathed, having to be helped in every way, getting put back in the bed was pretty rough, considering my age. I'm 71 now, and what we're talking about roughly 6 years ago. So I was 65 years old. I didn't want to be treated like an invalid, but I had no choice. I'm walking with a walker, using a wheelchair, and trying to learn how to stand up. One of my exercises is just to stand up and sit back down. I had to learn how to stand up without putting my hands down to push myself up. I couldn't lean, I couldn't get out of bed hardly because I couldn't sit up in bed. So I would have to lean, I'd have to roll over as best I could, sling my legs out of the bed, and then I couldn't push myself up. It took a long time to get that part squared away, but I finally got it squared away because I wanted it so bad or badly. I was walking with my walker, and so I would go outside. One of the grandkids or one of my children would walk around the driveway. We have a circular driveway out front, and they would walk around with me and trying to help me make sure I didn't fall down. I had a belt that the person could hold on to because, I could easily fall. Within 3 days, and I just asked my wife to make sure if that's about right, I quit using the walker and I started carrying the walker, and then I quit carrying the walker and I just started walking. And sometimes people walked with me and sometimes they didn't. And I continued trying to walk every day. I am rapidly getting better. I can't explain to you how sweet and kind my friends were to me. I was in the hospital. I didn't know this till later, but they would come at, sit outside the hospital and pray for me that God would heal me. One friend actually took videos every day and sent me a video message telling me what was going on and what they were hearing. I thought that was one of the kindest gestures I'd ever seen. My buddy Robert Canfield came into the hospital to see me. Another friend came with him. Faith was always going to see me and taking care of me. Always had people loving me and helping me. What a good and sweet thing it is for Christian fellowship, for people to be able to get along, to get together and sit together and enjoy each other's presence. I don't know if there's anything any sweeter than that. So I slowly overcame all that COVID had done to me. I had to still be very careful, and I had, I was told to sleep 8 hours or lay in the bed 8 hours. My body had to recover, but I got it all back. I got my mind back. I got my ability to walk back. I got my ability to sit up in bed, to dress myself, and to live a normal life. And things were going along pretty good. Now, what I didn't tell you, and what's probably a shocker to you, is that during the time I have COVID, they don't do a scan on me to see what's happening with my cancer. Now, don't forget, I've had cancer. I had a kidney removed today about 14 years ago, so 8 years before that. And so, I've recovered from COVID and it looks like I'm going to be fine. And so it's back on to the days to going down to see the oncologist. I have a nephrologist, I have an oncologist, and I'm going to see them at that time. And so, I was trying to look on my little thing here. I came off the ventilator. I came off the ventilator back in June of 2020. And then, my mother died in, August of 2020 of that year. My mother died. COVID kept us from even being able to go out to see her. And then I was diagnosed with cancer again on June the 30th of 2021. The doctor was very upset because he said, due to the COVID, they didn't take the scans that they should have taken. Of course, why would you scan a guy you think is going to die? They didn't do anything to know what was happening. And my cancer had basically been gone since I lost my kidney, but now it was growing and rapidly, and I had 5 tumors in my abdomen mainly. It left my kidney and gotten into my abdomen, and they were on my adrenal glands. There's still one on my kidney, and the largest one was as large as my fist. And so all of a sudden, it is time. I've overcome COVID, my life seems to be getting back to normal when, bam, cancer hits. And I cannot explain to you. It's like you get out of one thing and you're right into another thing. And so all of a sudden I had cancer. And the medicine that the oncologist put me on was Cabometyx and then immunotherapy. So every month I went in to get an infusion and I took pills every day. And this was costing, I can't remember all exact, about $60,000 or $70,000 a month. That's being paid for by old people's insurance, but it caused me to have horrible diarrhea. I was up to 15 times a day. At first, it seemed to work pretty good, but as time went on, it began to take a harder and harder position. But my body was doing well. I have to admit that my tumors began to shrink. Two of them kind of disappeared, and they were getting from the size of my fist on down to a lemon and so on. You keep up with things like that. So God was blessing, but with the blessing came a horrendous side effect. I couldn't even trust myself in my office. I couldn't even trust myself to make it to the bathroom if something happened. I was miserable. It wore me out. It drained me. And of course, I still got cancer growing in me. Now I have diarrhea, dysentery, uncontrollable. I couldn't go out. I couldn't see people. It was really becoming a trying and a hard time in my life. And I'll take you further in that story in another episode. But I want to just say to you that we all go through hard times and you can't play the victim. I have played the victim. I don't want you to think that I'm saying I've not played the victim, because I have played the victim. I have whined and complained, and I have griped out against God in heaven and my friends. And I've even been ugly to friends, people that loved me. And I wasn't kind to them. I wasn't always kind to my family, because you kind of get me-centered when you get sick and everything's going wrong. Wrong, but you do it. I want to challenge you that the Lord's using all of this in my life, and you're not going to believe this, but He is going to bring me through to the most precious time in my life. I'm going to learn more about Him and His mercy than I ever dreamed possible. I have gone through with cancer, now I have COVID, now cancer's back. I've had some really bad stuff happen that I won't even go into with you here, but I lost a lot of friends. And all of a sudden, I was alone. But in that aloneness, I found out God was all I had. And then when you find that out, you can find out that God is all you need. And so what had been horrible, turns out to be one of the most wonderful things that I could ever explain to you. So I'm getting quite upset with my doctor. It seems like he'll not do anything. I got diarrhea, and it's just like, well, we're doing what we can. And they put me on palliative care. It's like, we know you're going to die. We'll just make you comfortable. I really wasn't satisfied with that attitude or response. Not the doctor's fault. I just didn't want to just give up. But anyway, that will lead to me leaving and finding another doctor. And that's another chapter in the story of how God's been working in my life. Austin Gardner's COVID cancer story for the moment. Thank you so much for listening. If it's any blessing to you at all, if I'm helping you at all, share it with somebody. God bless you.